This morning, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan, the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, as well, expected to announce nearly $15 million in funding for neighborhood development projects. The grant is expected to be critical to 5 mixed-use developments that will bring housing, retail, and co-working space to the city. It's just getting started. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Awarded to the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation by way of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. These funds are made available through the MEDC's Revitalization and Placemaking Program, which is known to many as the RAP program. And these funds will help to catalyze over $250 million in investment in the city of Detroit. But this would not be possible without the vision, without the passion, and without the commitment of some very talented developers that I would like to acknowledge. I would first like to acknowledge Roger Basmajian of Bosco, Detroit. Roger will be renovating the Broadway Lofts building. That includes 3 buildings that will be converted to residential housing that will also have affordable housing and retail. I would also like to acknowledge Richard Hosey and Greg Jackson. Their team, they will be renovating the former Fisher Body building. It's known to many as now as Fisher 21. And so they will be renovating Fisher 21. That was a former automotive manufacturing facility. They will take this 600,000 square feet monster of a building and convert that to residential, commercial, and they will have affordable and market rate housing in that deal. So I want to thank Richard Hosey for that as well. I would also like to thank Emory Matthews. Emory Matthews will convert an abandoned 25,000 square foot facility over on Warren into residential housing. So we have some really talented developers here in the city of Detroit that are doing fantastic things. And I'd also like to mention that another project that will benefit from this is the DECO. And that's located a short distance from the Arthur Murray building. And the DECO is being led by Brandon Hodges and Damon Dickerson. And this project is slated to transform that building into 6 new rental apartments and ground floor retail. And that building will house a new restaurant named La Joliense. That's a Mexican restaurant that will take form on that first floor. So I would like to thank Brandon Hodges and Damon Dickerson. And finally, I would like to recognize our partners in this. We cannot do this work without our partners. I would like to recognize Invest Detroit, and I would like to recognize Midtown Detroit, Inc., who teamed up to redevelop the Jefferson School, which is where we are sitting today. This is slated to become Invest Detroit's new headquarters. So I would really like to thank our partners for their vision and for everything that they have done here. I would like to thank Dave Blasowicz and his team, Marcia Ventura, as well as Kiana Cohen. We will hear from Marcia here shortly, but I would like to thank Dave and his team. So with developers like this, it's no wonder that Detroit is being rebuilt block by block, brick by brick. There are a lot of fantastic things that are happening in the city, but make no mistake, this could not be made possible without the vision of the administration. It could not be made possible without everyday Detroiters here. And at DEGC, Kevin has really coined a new model for us, and it's growing here and winning together. Kevin, our CEO, we really believe in that model, and that is the model for DEGC going forward. But this can only be achieved as we can support developers who uplift our neighborhoods, like the developers that you are seeing here today. And they're lifting up our neighborhoods with impactful development, new housing, new retail, and just new vibrancy that you don't see in all of the neighborhoods right now. But when we really look at this work, the really key component of this work is equity. And equity is how we all process this and how we operate on a daily basis to make sure that Detroiters have opportunity, they have access, and that this is being built for Detroiters. So that's what makes this work so meaningful. And with this $14.5 million that have been entrusted to the DEGC by the MEDC, This will help us to continue to build from the ground up and advance inclusive opportunities in the city of Detroit and all the neighborhoods, including downtown, midtown, you know, and pushing out to Warren, which is where some of the projects I've talked about today, as well as all of the other neighborhoods in the city. This administration has been really great in ensuring that all neighborhoods are developed and all neighborhoods have opportunities in the city of Detroit. So this is to us what progress looks like. And at this time, I would like to bring up our mayor, Mayor Mike Duggan, who needs no introduction, and ask that he say a few comments, give you a few remarks. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you to Governor Whitmer, the state of Michigan, the legislature, and everybody that made this possible. There's been a lot of attention on the SOAR program, where the state put hundreds of millions of dollars into new auto plants, into new battery plants, and those provide jobs across the state, but those are 500-acre sites. It doesn't really have much of an impact on the city of Detroit because we don't have 500-acre sites. And while we're glad to see these plants come to Michigan, I talked to the governor and the legislative leaders about what we need in Detroit is something very different. And they came up with the RAP program, because what we need is to take the vacant commercial buildings in this city and put them back to work. Some of them, like the Packard plant, we have to knock down, but there's a whole lot of other buildings that we can save. And with the RAP program, what the state has done to help us is remarkable. And every one of the developers here had a plan that was that far away from being able to work. And today, for less than a $15 million state investment, you're getting 1,100 new housing units and $250 million of investment. This is the way we should be incentivizing development. And so you go out to East Warren, where the city has rebuilt the streetscape, and that neighborhood is coming back dramatically. It is absolutely beautiful. But with the support today for the Arthur Murray building and the Deco building, you're going to take two long vacant buildings on that street and activate them to add to the momentum that's happening on that corridor. We have too many vacant school buildings in this city. And what you are seeing right here in Midtown is the renovation of the Jefferson School. I'm glad to see Invest Detroit is putting their headquarters here, because they've been a partner in so many of these projects. And now you've got co-working space. We're going to fill a school building that people have driven by for years and looked at as abandoned. There is one area downtown that has slipped the recovery, a little stretch of Broadway. The numbers have not been able to work, but today, with the help of the RAP program, Roger Basbajian and his team are going to activate that into housing and fill in that hole that desperately needed to be done. And probably my favorite project of all, I was told from the first day I got here, the old Fisher Body plant had to be knocked down. It was covered with graffiti. You could see it on the intersection of 94 and 75. Everybody who came through Detroit saw it as an image of Detroit's decline. But Greg Jackson and Richard Hosey came in and said, that building can be saved. That building can be housing. We stopped the demolition vault, and we said, we want to give you a chance. They have put together a terrific plan, and I'm going to be there the first day they start work, which will be any day now. But with the help of the RAP program, a building that was going to be demolished is going to have 433 housing units. And I don't know if you saw the story today, but the city of Detroit home prices are now growing at a more rapid rate than Miami, leading America. Housing is getting tougher and tougher in this city. We need those 400 housing units in this city. We don't need to be knocking down all of these buildings. And with the RAP program today, we're able to do that. And if you aren't following what's happening in Milwaukee Junction, one project after another, all the way down Paquette, Greg Jackson and Richard Hosey are doing is activating a neighborhood a lot of people didn't even know was there. And you're now seeing the old Studebaker building being renovated into housing across the street. We've got a new company coming in with jobs of the future across the street. It is amazing what $15 million can get you. So Michelle Wildman's here from MEDC. She's been our best friend back when she started supporting the residential demolition. And Michelle, I just want to say I want to thank you. And before you come up, I want to introduce my partner on these projects, City Council President Mary Sheffield.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone. Honored to be here. Just wanted to personally come by and congratulate all of the developers on the hard work to continue to contribute to the growth and redevelopment of our city. I think we all share a common goal here, and that is we want progress in Detroit. We want the continued revitalization to take place. And I truly believe that in order to do that, we have to focus on how we retain and attract residents into our city. And I truly believe that these 5 projects are really contributing to that goal by providing affordable housing to Detroiters, by providing amenities, by also creating business opportunities for Detroiters as well too. And so we thank you on behalf of the City Council for the work that you are doing to uplift and drive growth here in the city of Detroit. I also know that my term serving on council, I've gotten a chance to really learn the dynamics of how to do development in Detroit, and it's not always easy. And so with the high rise of construction costs and labor costs, oftentimes these developers need some additional assistance. And so to be able to develop based on the needs of Detroiters also is difficult, providing that affordable housing, providing amenities that actually reflect the aspirations of the community can be a challenge as well too. And so this gap financing oftentimes is what developers need to get to the finish line. So I just say congratulations and thank you again on behalf of the City Council. Thank you to the MEDC for your work as well too, and all who played a role to being here. Let us continue to provide the best for the best here in the city of Detroit. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sheffield. I would like to now at this time just make one other remark or acknowledgement for Amanda Elias and David Howe of Amanda Elias of the JET team and David Howe of DEGC, who both came together to put together a stellar application for this $14.5 million in funding to the state of Michigan. And at this point in time, I would like to bring up Michelle Wildman from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation.
Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure to celebrate Detroit and the accomplishments here. The RAP program is a really important tool in the state toolbox, really underscoring our commitment to making it in Michigan, assisting with people, places, and projects that help make our communities thrive. RAP has so much flexibility to assist with things like attracting and retaining spaces for small business, creating housing units, replacing or finding new uses and visions for vacant spaces, assisting with placemaking. It really is an important tool for communities to really make a difference in their neighborhoods. Anyone who's worked with me for a long time knows I have a secret, not so secret anymore, passion for development teams that can take a look at a building like the one that you're in and really find new units and new vision for that property and put it back into making it a true community asset. When we put about a little under $200 million since 2022 under the RAP program. Really been impressed with the vision that we've seen. When we first set out there, we knew we couldn't do it without really having strong local partners. We sought to make investments in each of Michigan's 10 prosperity regions. So we put out a call to our economic development partners throughout the state, and we're pleased with the response that we got. DEGC in this particular RAP round, one of 7 economic development partners that really came to us with a holistic strategy, and that's absolutely critical for having the type of comprehensive impact that we're looking to have here. So I want to congratulate certainly Mayor Duggan and his team, City Councilwoman Sheffield, for your continued commitment on the part of the city and helping us helping us work together on important economic development goals, to Kenyatta and the DEGC and our other partners who help make these deals happen, like Invest Detroit and others. Really looking forward to being here when you cut some of the ribbons on all these places. Can't wait to see it all to come to fruition and some of the families and small businesses that we're going to be able to impact through this work. So thanks for having me, and again, offering my congratulations.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for being a continued supporter of the city. I would now like to bring up, you've heard from government, you've heard from the city, you've heard from DEGC, the administration, and you've heard from Michelle. I would like to now bring up the developers who are doing the work. I would like to bring up Emery Matthews, who is redeveloping the Arthur Murray building, and ask that he share some remarks.
Thank you. It's always difficult to follow such effective speakers, especially our mayor and council president. My goodness. I think they captured most of the overall importance. I wanted to bring the story to the personal level a little bit. I actually grew up right across the freeway here. I went to the elementary school across the freeway. I had relatives who went to this school in particular. So this is very personal for me because it's about stories. We are the stories we tell ourselves. And we are connected by the stories that we share. And that's why programs like RAP are important, because they help us continue that narrative. You know, I think I can speak on behalf of my fellow developers to say we get in this business not just to have financial returns, but emotional ones as well, right? When we see a building like the Arthur Murray building that's been abandoned for years, we know that building contains memories. We know it contains potential in the future. Programs like RAP are not just about economic benefits. They are about knitting communities back together. And so as we connect those things through the financial resources, we're able to walk down the street and we hear stories from the people who said, I remember what happened in that building. And then we also talk to people who weren't even alive when that building was operated and say, man, I hope something can happen in that building. And that's why this program is important. It is smart, it is wise to be efficient with our shared community resources. But let me assure you, this is a wonderful use. Those projects over there will have impact far beyond the dollars that go into it. That's why we do this, that's why this is important, and that's why we're grateful. I want to say thank you to the mayor, to the council president. I can say I've worked in cities across the country, and this is the best. I'm biased, but I'm also right? And so that doesn't mean they're easy, they are not. But you never doubt their sincerity. And this team at the DEGC, extraordinary. And I'm grateful to the state for making RAP possible. It does not happen without the DEGC or JET or a council, just to be clear. So I've talked enough, I'm just very happy. I'm impressed by the projects that we have. And I am glad to be doing a project by Detroiters for Detroiters. Thank you.
Thank you, Emery. I'd now like to bring up a very special partner that we have here in Invest Detroit. Invest Detroit is not only serving as a developer in this project here, but many of the deals that we spoke about, many of the deals that occur in the city of Detroit that have challenges, they couldn't get done but for Invest Detroit coming in and stepping into some of those deals. So right now, I would like to bring up Marsha Ventura, who will share remarks about this project.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you could all come to the Jefferson School. We're happy to host. And note to self, never follow Emery and run a show. Wonderful remarks. But we're so happy to have you here. Invest Detroit is honored to host you all. And we're also very honored to celebrate community. And that's what this is, community bringing together the state of Michigan, the Economic Development Corporation of Detroit, philanthropy, and the private developers, as has already been mentioned. And it takes all of us to revitalize the city of Detroit. We are a recipient of a $1.5 million RAP grant for this project, and we can attest to the importance that this grant is going to play in this climate of increasing costs and challenging economic environment. We couldn't be more grateful. It really is going to help us get to the finish line. The grant is, this project was caught in the COVID epidemic, unfortunately, as a lot of projects at this stage were. So we experienced supply chain interruptions, labor shortages, and cost variations. And we're very still committed to finishing this project and repurposing and reactivating this building. I'd like to say this project was envisioned many years ago, I'm not going to say how many, by Sue Mosey and Dave Blaskowitz as part of the Innovation District Initiative. And we purchased this building as a strategic acquisition and spent a couple of years planning the project. The project is really is one of placemaking. This building was in an area of Midtown where the building was vacant, but it was across from a closed recreation center. So this whole area was kind of abandoned and derelict. And we found a way to try to reactivate this building and repurpose it. And it is a very historic building, as Emery's already mentioned. You know, so many people have come to us and said, oh, I played basketball here, or I did this, you know, can I go through the building and take a look at it? Because I remember it from when I was a kid. So we're really happy that we can keep the building active. We have a placemaking mission here that this project will satisfy. But we're going to fill the building with businesses, and the people that work here are going to walk the neighborhood. They're going to visit entertainment venues. They're going to visit restaurants. They're going to visit local businesses, and that's going to really revitalize this area, and we hope be catalytic across the street. There's some housing planned. We hope that this helps that get off the ground. But more importantly, part of our mission is helping small businesses, and we helped as a CDFI on the debt side many small businesses over the course of time. Last year in particular, 20, doesn't sound like a lot, but it was over $7 million of debt financing for 20 small businesses, all located in the city of Detroit, all who serve impact populations. And the future of the city is supporting these kinds of businesses and helping them grow. So the mission of this project is to set aside 20% of the space where we will lend to emerging businesses, hopefully owned by Detroit residents who are just getting off the ground and need some support to facilitate and help them grow. In addition to that, the building is going to have some common areas, a lot of common areas. And the whole idea is to bring people out of their offices and meet in common areas and have informal mentoring. As we talked about, this is going to be the home of Invest Detroit, and we are very excited to finally, after 3 years, be under the same roof as an organization where we can work together and collaborate a little more easily. You know, you can do so much over Zoom, but you know, it's nice to be together and share ideas with each other. And we're very excited to be kind of co-located with some of our clients so that we can help them and be close and connect them with there's a vast array of technical assistance available in the marketplace, and we want to assist our companies to grow and do that. In addition, we have a venture capital group who helped 9 businesses last year in the city of Detroit by making equity investments. And those companies typically, as opposed to our debt clients, have pretty aggressive growth strategies. And so we're really happy to help them. And so we think this building is going to help us launch, you know, better and more business support in the neighborhoods and in the city, and help us to achieve our economic development mission. And that brings me back to the grant. You know, none of this would, at this location, be possible without the grant. You know, we had run into some cost overruns that were really going to be difficult to fill, and the grant really came at a very timely point for the development of this project. So thank you seems insufficient, but it is heartfelt, and we're looking forward to seeing you here at some not too distant point in the future, yet to be determined, for a ribbon cutting. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcia. Now, as we conclude, I just want to mention that we all were able to witness a really special event over the past few days when Michigan was crowned national champions. But in addition to witnessing that, we all have witnessed champions of development here today. We have seen Emory Matthews, we have Richard Basmagian, we have Richard Hosey, we have Greg Jackson, Brandon Hodges, Damon Dickerson. These are some of our champions of development here. And so I want to just thank the developers again for their vision and their commitment to Detroit. Thank everyone here that took part in this presentation. I want to thank the mayor. I would like to thank Councilman Member Sheffield, and just thank each of you for coming out today. And if you want to talk to the developers, they will be around for question and answer here after the presentation. Thank you.